Grandma's 42 Old Life. Hacks you'll wish you knew sooner. 1. Keep bread fresh with a celery stick. Back when there were no fancy preservatives, Grandma had a clever way of keeping her bread from going stale. She'd slip a fresh celery stick into the bread bag before sealing it. The moisture from the celery helped maintain the softness of the bread, while the subtle scent didn't affect the flavor at all. It was a trick passed down from her own mother during the Great Depression, when every slice mattered. She always kept a stock in her fridge, not just for soups, but for extending the life of a loaf. You'd never guess celery was the hero behind those soft sandwich slices. Whenever the bread felt just a little tough, in went the celery, no plastic containers needed. It was quick, quiet wisdom that saved money and waste. Now we toss out half a loaf without blinking, but Grandma? She made it stretch. Even today, it works like a charm. 2. Whiten yellowed lace with lemon and sunlight. Delicate old lace doilies, curtains, or tablecloths would yellow with time, but Grandma had a natural fix. She soaked them in a mixture of lemon juice and water, then laid them out flat under the sun. The lemon acted like a gentle bleach, and the sun worked as a natural brightener. Within hours, the lace would come back to life, fresh, white, and vibrant again. She never used harsh chemicals, just citrus and sunlight. If the item had a special meaning, like a wedding keepsake or her mother's heirloom, this method kept it intact. She always said, "Nature knows how to clean what it creates." The trick worked on linens too, from pillowcases to handkerchiefs. A lemon, some patience, and a sunny spot on the clothesline, that's all she needed. Nothing store-bought could beat it. 3. Keep potatoes from sprouting with an apple. Grandma never let her potatoes grow those strange little arms in storage. Her secret? Tossing an apple into the basket. The apple released ethylene gas, which helped delay sprouting in the potatoes. It might sound backward, but it worked every single time. Her cellar always had a wooden bin of potatoes and one shiny apple nestled among them. The potatoes stayed firm and fresh for weeks, even months. She rotated the apple once it got wrinkly. It was such a simple hack, one fruit preserving another veggie. She didn't need fancy containers or anti-sprouting sprays. The apple did all the work quietly, just sitting there. It's one of those secrets that's too good to forget. Next time you buy a bag of spuds, remember Grandma's apple trick. 4. Shine shoes with a banana peel. Back in the day, shoe polish wasn't always handy or affordable, but Grandma found shine in the strangest place: a banana peel. She'd rub the inside of the peel directly onto leather shoes. The natural oils in the fruit's skin gave the leather a quick polish and a nice, soft glow. After a good rub, she'd buff it with a soft cloth, and those scuffed-up shoes looked like new. She used this trick for handbags and belts, too. Not only did it bring the color back, but it also softened the leather over time. No toxic chemicals, no heavy waxes, just nature's solution. The house always had bananas on the table, and the peels never went to waste. It was practical, safe, and surprisingly effective. Plus, it left a faint sweet smell that lingered just a bit. Who needs polish when fruit does the job? 5. Prevent boiling over with a wooden spoon. There's nothing worse than a pot of pasta boiling over while your back is turned. Grandma had a way to stop that mess before it started. She'd lay a wooden spoon across the top of the pot. Somehow, that simple utensil kept the bubbles from spilling over. The wood broke the surface tension and popped the bubbles before they reached the edge. She never had scorched stovetops or sticky overflows, and she didn't need to hover anxiously with a towel in hand. As long as the wooden spoon was in place, the pot stayed in check. It worked for rice, pasta, or even oatmeal. That little wooden spoon held more wisdom than it seemed, and it became one of her most trusted kitchen tools. A humble stick of wood saved hours of cleanup, and that's the kind of smart shortcut she loved. 6. Use salt to clean a cast. Iron skillet. Grandma treated her cast iron like a family member. It never saw dish soap. After cooking, she'd sprinkle coarse salt into the warm pan and scrub it with a cloth or half a potato. The salt absorbed grease and lifted stuck-on bits without removing the skillet's seasoning. Then she'd rinse it lightly, dry it immediately, and rub in a bit of oil to protect the surface. This routine kept the skillet glossy black and non-stick for decades. She believed cast iron grew better with age, like her favorite quilt. The salt trick worked even after frying bacon or cooking cornbread. No scratches, no rust, no chemicals, just salt, elbow grease, and care. That skillet outlived her oven, and it still works today. 7. Freshen the fridge with baking soda and vanilla to keep her icebox from smelling like leftovers. Grandma didn't use fancy deodorizers. She filled a small bowl with baking soda, added a few drops of vanilla extract, and tucked it into the back corner. The baking soda absorbed odors, while the vanilla left a warm, sweet scent. It was like opening a cookie jar every time you grabbed the milk. Every couple of weeks, she'd stir it and add more vanilla. When it stopped working, the old soda went down the drain to freshen the pipes. Nothing was wasted. No plastic pods, no sprays, just pantry staples doing double duty. Even guests would comment on how her fridge always smelled inviting. It wasn't luck. It was Grandma's simple science at work. That tiny dish made a big difference. 8. Stop foggy mirrors with a dab of shaving cream. Steamy bathrooms used to be a daily battle, but Grandma had a secret weapon, shaving cream. She'd spread a thin layer over the bathroom mirror and wipe it off with a clean cloth. The mirror stayed fog-free even after the hottest shower. The oils in the cream created an invisible barrier that resisted condensation. She did this once every couple of weeks, and it never failed. No more wiping steam with towels or waiting for the fog to clear. Her mirror was always ready for lipstick, hairdos, or a quick check before church. It was a small trick with a big impact on busy mornings. She shared it with every niece and neighbor who visited. Most didn't believe it until they tried it themselves, and then they were hooked. 9. Use clothespins to keep gloves together. Grandma never lost a glove, not even in the chaos of wintertime. When she took them off, she clipped them together with a clothespin and tucked them in her coat sleeve or pocket. They stayed as a pair, ready for the next chilly outing. She also used this trick on kids' mittens, attaching them to the inside of jackets with a bit of string. No need to dig through piles or hunt down mismatches. Clothespins weren't just for laundry, they were her miniature organizers. Cheap, reusable, and always nearby. Even after the wash, she'd clip socks together so they wouldn't disappear in the dryer. It was the kind of everyday genius people don't think about until they're digging for that missing mitten. 10. Remove sticker residue with cooking oil. Old jars, thrift store finds, new purchases. Grandma knew how to get sticky labels off without fuss. She'd dab a bit of vegetable oil on the residue, let it sit for a few minutes, and then rub it clean with a cloth. The glue broke down and slid right off. No scraping, no scratching, no smelly solvents. She used this on glass, plastic, even books and wood. If it was safe to oil, she could clean it. For tougher stickers, she'd mix the oil with a pinch of baking soda for extra grit. Every bottle and jar in her pantry looked spotless, ready for reuse. Grandma didn't believe in throwing things out if you could clean and repurpose them. And with this trick, nothing ever looked secondhand. 11. Quiet squeaky floors with baby powder. Creaky floorboards used to wake everyone up, until Grandma showed her fix. She'd sprinkle baby powder between the cracks and sweep it in with a broom. The fine powder settled deep into the gaps, reducing friction between the boards. The result? Silence with every step. It worked best on wood floors with small seams, and she'd reapply every few months. Sometimes she'd use cornstarch if she didn't have baby powder handy. No fancy repair kits or tools, just what was in the bathroom cabinet. The floor felt smoother underfoot, too. This trick was a lifesaver during nap time or early mornings when she didn't want to wake Grandpa. It's one of those forgotten gems that still holds up today. 12. Keep bread fresher with a stick of celery. Stale bread wasn't a problem in Grandma's kitchen. If the loaf started to dry out, she'd slip a stick of celery into the bread bag, seal it, and let it sit overnight. The bread would absorb moisture from the celery and soften right up, without turning soggy. It was like magic, especially for sandwich bread and rolls. She swore by this trick during holiday dinners when leftover buns needed a second life. Sometimes she used a slice of apple instead, depending on what was on hand. It worked both ways. Stale bread softened, and the celery crisped up. Simple, effective, and a reminder of how food didn't need to be wasted. Her bread box never saw mold, just fresh slices every time. 13. Use vinegar to remove hard water stains. Grandma's faucets and sinks always sparkled, and she didn't need harsh cleaners. For tough water spots, she soaked a cloth in white vinegar and wrapped it around the stained area. After 10-15 minutes, she'd scrub lightly with an old toothbrush, and the stains vanished. The acidity in vinegar broke down the minerals without damaging metal or porcelain. She used this trick on showerheads too, tying a vinegar-filled bag around the nozzle overnight. 21. Fix a wobbly table with a folded napkin. Grandma never tolerated a table that wobbled. Instead of buying new furniture or calling for help, she reached for a simple cloth napkin. She'd fold it tightly into a small square and wedge it beneath the short leg until the table stood steady again. If the floor was slippery, she might tape it down or use rubber bands to keep it in place. She even color-coded napkins to match the wood tone or cover it with a decorative doily. No table rocked under her watch. It was a small but powerful reminder that balance can be restored with just a little care and creativity. Her guests always sat comfortably, unaware of the quiet genius tucked under the table. 22. Freshen a musty closet with a bar of soap. Instead of spraying chemicals or running noisy dehumidifiers, Grandma slipped a wrapped bar of scented soap into each closet corner. She preferred lavender or rose for their calming scent, but any gentle fragrance worked. Over time, the soap absorbed moisture and kept clothes smelling fresh. If the wrapper wore down, she'd place the bar in a small mesh pouch or sock to prevent residue. The scent lasted for weeks, and every time she opened the door, it felt like spring. She rotated bars with the seasons, matching the scent to the time of year. Her closet smelled better than any department store and cost next to nothing. 23. Clean mirrors with vinegar and newspaper. Long before commercial glass cleaners, Grandma mixed vinegar and water in a reused spray bottle, about half and half, and spritzed her mirrors until they gleamed. She'd wipe it off using old newspaper, not paper towels, which left lint behind. The vinegar cut through smudges and left a streak-free shine every time. She reused newspaper for this chore weekly and always kept a stack near the cleaning supplies. Guests often asked what brand she used, and she'd smile knowingly. It was one of her best-kept secrets and didn't cost a cent more than her groceries. Her mirrors sparkled with nothing but thrift and tradition. 24. Calm static with a safety pin. Winter brought dry air and static shocks, especially when she wore sweaters or brushed her hair. Grandma's fix? A safety pin. She'd pin it discreetly to the inside hem of her sweater or slip it into her pillowcase. The small bit of metal grounded the static electricity and stopped those annoying zaps. She even tucked one in the laundry hamper to reduce cling. When she explained it, people thought it was magic, but it was pure physics and old-fashioned smarts. It saved her wardrobe, her nerves, and her comfort. No more crackling blankets or shocking handshakes, just smooth, static-free days. 25. Soothe burns with used tea bags. Accidents happened in the kitchen, and Grandma always had a fix ready. When she burned her hand, she'd grab a used black tea bag, soak it in cool water, and gently press it onto the burn. The tannins in the tea helped reduce inflammation and pain naturally. She'd hold it there for a few minutes, then wrap the area loosely with a clean cloth. It brought instant relief and didn't involve any ointments or store-bought gels. She saved used tea bags in the fridge just in case. Her kitchen doubled as a medicine cabinet, and no one ever left it without a lesson in self-care. 26. Keep drawers organized with shoeboxes. Every dresser in Grandma's house opened to perfectly organized drawers. Her secret? Shoeboxes. She cut old shoeboxes to size and used them as dividers for socks, scarves, undergarments, and more. No clutter, no digging. She even labeled them with handwritten tags. These makeshift organizers were durable, stackable, and easy to replace. Some were decorated with wallpaper or contact paper for a charming touch. It kept everything in its place and made daily routines smoother. Her dressers didn't look fancy, but they worked like magic. It was practical, tidy, and full of that grandma-style ingenuity. 27. Use salt to scrub coffee stains from mugs. When coffee rings refused to budge, Grandma reached for salt. She'd sprinkle a generous pinch into the mug, add a drop of water, and scrub with her fingers or a soft sponge. The coarse salt acted as a gentle abrasive, lifting the stains without scratching the porcelain. It took seconds, and the mug looked new again. She did this weekly to keep her favorite teacups spotless. No need for harsh chemicals or overnight soaks, just salt, elbow grease, and know-how. Her mugs always looked guest-ready, and the coffee always tasted better from a clean rim. 28. Freshen upholstery with baking soda. If the couch started to smell musty or dusty, Grandma reached for her go-to deodorizer, baking soda. She'd sprinkle a thin layer across the cushions, let it sit for an hour, then vacuum it up thoroughly. The powder absorbed odors and lifted dust trapped in the fabric. She sometimes added a drop of essential oil for a light fragrance. This trick worked on mattresses, chairs, and even the dog bed. 29. Store pins and needles in a bar of soap. Every sewing kit Grandma owned included a bar of soap, not for washing, but for storage. She stuck straight pins, sewing needles, and even safety pins directly into the soap bar. It kept them sharp, rust-free, and easy to grab. The soap also added a smooth coating that helped the needles glide through fabric more easily. She used lavender soap in her travel kit so it doubled as a sachet. Everything had its place and nothing poked you by accident. It was clever, neat, and unmistakably Grandma. 30. Unclog drains with baking soda and vinegar. When the sink gurgled or drained slowly, Grandma didn't call a plumber. She made a potion. She'd pour half a cup of baking soda down the drain, followed by half a cup of white vinegar. The fizzing reaction broke down grime and soap scum. She'd cover the drain with a plate or cloth and let it sit for 10 minutes, then flush it all down with boiling water. It worked like magic and smelled way better than chemical cleaners. Her drains ran clear and fresh, and she never spent a dime on pipe treatments. It was science, kitchen style. 31. Extend candle life by freezing them. Before lighting a new candle, Grandma would place it in the freezer for a few hours. This slowed the burn rate and helped the candle last longer. She learned it from her mother and passed it down like a family secret. The wax burned more evenly and the flame stayed steady. She said it made her home cozier on fewer candles. This was especially useful for holiday decor, when she wanted candles to burn all evening without melting away. It was a simple trick, but it felt like magic when the candles kept glowing well into dessert. 32. Remove stickers with warm vinegar. Old price tags or labels on jars never stood a chance with Grandma. She'd soak a cloth in warm vinegar, lay it over the sticker for a few minutes, then peel it off cleanly. No scraping, no sticky residue. If it was stubborn, she'd use the edge of a spoon. This trick worked on glass, plastic, and even wood. She reused jars for everything: buttons, spices, homemade jam, so clean labels were a must. Her cupboards looked like a tidy apothecary, each jar clearly labeled and repurposed. It was frugality turned into elegance. 33. Patch a leak with clear nail polish. Small cracks in glasses, ceramics, or plastic items didn't mean the end of their use. Grandma dabbed clear nail polish on the leak, inside and out, and let it dry completely. It created a waterproof seal that lasted surprisingly long. She used this on vases, remote controls, even shoelace tips. Sometimes she applied a second coat for extra hold. It wasn't fancy, but it bought time and saved money. She always said a little polish could fix more than nails. It could patch up life's little fractures too. 34. Keep shoes smelling fresh with tea bags. Shoes never stank in Grandma's house. If a pair got musty, she'd tuck a dry, unused tea bag into each shoe overnight. The tea absorbed odors and left behind a soft herbal scent. She preferred peppermint or chamomile but used whatever she had. By morning, the shoes were refreshed and ready to wear. She even did this in boots, slippers, and gym shoes. It was her quiet way of keeping every closet guest friendly. No sprays, no fuss, just tea and time. 35. Stop a run in tights with hairspray. Snagged pantyhose didn't mean throwing them away. Grandma would grab a can of hairspray and spritz the run to keep it from growing. The spray hardened the fabric and sealed the fibers temporarily. If she caught the run early, it could last through the day without spreading. She also kept a clear nail polish bottle handy for the same job. These little fashion emergencies never flustered her. She had a fix for everything in her purse, and she always looked put together. 36. Use a rubber band for stripped screws. If a screw refused to budge because its head was stripped, Grandma didn't give up. She'd place a wide rubber band over the head and press the screwdriver in firmly. The band filled the gaps and gave the tool just enough grip to twist it free. It worked more often than not, and she avoided damaging the furniture or wall. She even taught this trick to the grandkids when they helped her fix things around the house. It was a moment of hands-on learning with a twist of old-fashioned brilliance. 37. Clean silver with aluminum foil and baking soda. Tarnished silverware got the spa treatment in Grandma's kitchen. She'd line a baking dish with aluminum foil, add a tablespoon of baking soda and a pinch of salt, then fill it with hot water. Into the bath went her silver spoons and trays. The tarnish vanished like magic as the chemical reaction pulled it onto the foil. She rinsed the pieces gently and dried them with a soft towel. No polish, no scrubbing, just gleaming silver and a science experiment in disguise. Her holiday table always sparkled.